What is up, guys? Dash coming to you today with a special video talking to you about some things here, some things that are on my mind. And I want to talk to you guys about who your manager really is, if there is a manager such in a gig world. Who do you answer to, right? Because I think we all have it wrong. Many people get caught up. We answer to Doordash. We answer to Uber Eats. We answer to Uber or Lyft or whoever, you name it, Spark. Whoever it is that you're working for, that's our overlord. That's who controls us. And that is a lie. And it is important that you understand that, because once you start answering to the real manager in the room, once you start working towards the real goal, it all changes for you. Your whole perspective will change. And we lose that, right? We lose that. And we start making choices against what I'm talking about. So what am I talking about? Who do we answer to? Do you know who we answer to? Your bank account. It's that simple, guys. You make decisions for your bank account. If your bank balance isn't where you want it to be, then you figure out how to get it to where you need it to be. If the rent is due and the money ain't there, you go out and you find it. That's what we do as gig workers, as gig business operators. We believe in ourselves to have the ability to find it in one app or multiple apps, wherever it is. But if we find it, we did it right. That is the only metric at the end of the day that matters. And that's the beautiful thing. When you're at a job, so much more matters. You get paid on Friday, at least I used to, every other Friday. So, yeah, you might look at your bank account and think, man, I'm doing it right. Man, that thing is right. That thing is really good. And then you turn around and you're told by the business you're working for that, no, guess what? Even though your bank account's right, your work account's not. Our bank account isn't right. We need more out of you. It's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe I'm salary and I don't get paid more. It doesn't matter. We still need more out of you. You're still worried about something else. You don't get to turn it off and go home. But when your bank account is right, you turn off the apps, you go home, you turn on the TV, you spend time with your significant other, you spend time with your kids, you turn it off and you're done. And if you start doing things right in terms of record keeping, having the right apps, having the right, collecting the right data, organizing your money the right way, it all gets even easier, because you know that whatever is in that bank account, when you've looked at your bank account and said, is it high enough? Is that balance high enough for me to quit today? You know you're good. Whereas you don't have to worry about anything else. And then when your bank account drops below the level that you're not comfortable with, you go back out and work again. That's when you work. You work when you need to work. And when you don't need to work anymore, you quit. You're not out here winning medals, winning gold. You know, that's why Hell Week and Top Dasher and programs, those are all designed to give you an excuse to work beyond your own need to work. And it takes you out of that mindset. And that's a mindset that I thought was pure freedom when I first got out here. Even though I was making less money than what I was making every Friday or every other Friday. Even though my bank account balance started to get a little lower than I liked. It started to get lower than I had. But it was the realization that once I get my bank account right, that I'm comfortable with today, I go home. And then I forget about it. And then when that alert happens and your balance is dropping and you go to spend money, and hopefully you're all keeping track of what you're spending and stuff like that, but you see that bank account start to fall and you go, okay, time to get back out. You could take 5 days off in a row out here with gig work if your bank account allows it. If you bust your tail for 2 weeks and make all sorts of money and then you go, you know what, I'm done for 5 days, you can do that. There's nobody there to tell you, unless you believe that there is. Unless you believe in something called Top Dasher, where you got to go through Hell Week and then you're out here working for what reason? Well, I need to be able to sign in when I need to. Have more apps. Have more apps. You don't need to be out here unless you need to be out here. So once you open up that freedom mindset, that mindset up here, and realize why you're working, that you're not working for any other reason than your own bank account, that you let that bank account be the guide, and you take it a step further. If you're out here taking 225 no tip orders and your bank account is right, keep doing it. If you're out here taking 225 no tip orders and your bank account isn't right, and you can't seem to get the balance high enough to take a day off, then do something different. If one app gets your bank account right, stick with it. If 2 apps get your bank account right, stick with it. But if they don't, add another app. And if you've added every app that you can and your bank account still ain't right, well, then maybe it's time that you figure out something else to add. And you have to figure out how far off are you. If you're off by 80% of the goal that you need, or the balance that you need, well, maybe you need to go get a W-2 and put gig work as side work, as part-time work. But if you're getting it done, if you're able to cover everything you need, if your bank account is right because of what you're doing, then what are you complaining about? What are you worried about? Don't worry about what. That's what I think is hilarious. We got guys up here fighting and ladies up here fighting over how to work an app, when the only thing that matters is if you work the app in a way that puts money in your bank account, enough money to cover your expenses and the things you need. Now, I'm going to give you suggestions. I'm going to tell you how I'm doing it. I'm going to tell you this, that, or the other. And there's a lot of people out here that aren't familiar. Maybe they're not used to this type of a mindset. They're not used to working that way. And that's what it's about. You come out here and you discover it. And you may discover, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't like that. I would rather know what I'm doing, what I'm getting. I'd rather have more stability than saying, well, you know, if I go home tonight, I can't get out of my mind that what happens if I take 2 days off and next week it's bad. Well, deal with that when it's there. That's what you're doing in gig work. You have to have the confidence and the belief. Part of the reason why I tell you to take data is because the data gives you peace of mind. Because when you start having those doubts, open up your spreadsheet of the day, open up your app, look at what you've averaged, and then ask yourself, okay, I averaged that. I've averaged that so far this year, and today I have the ability to take a day off. That means I will continue to do that as long as when I return to the road, I continue to do the things that I did for the last 6 months, the last 12 months, the last 18 months. You fill in the blank for the time. You can have the confidence and the peace of mind to know you're going to do that again. And then you turn it off. And then you go have fun. And you go spend time with your family. And you go do something other than worrying about your bank account at that moment. You go worry about enjoying the money in your bank account at that point. That's the freedom of gig work. That's the freedom of what we do. That's the mindset that wins what we do. And if you don't feel good about your bank account balance right now today, then figure out why. And figure out the solution to that problem. Because that is the only problem that's in front of you when you're working a gig app. It's not to figure out no tip or no tip orders or tip orders. It's not to figure out miles to money. That's all about the work you're doing. Figure out a consistent way to make money. But it's to figure out, all right, my bank balance. What do I need my bank balance to be that gives me the peace of mind to turn off the apps? And where and at what level does it drop to when I now know I need to turn it on? And you figure that out. You will start to change everything. Everything will change and unlock for you. And you separate the two. And then you just work consistently. You continue to take data, and digest data, and change and adjust your strategy where you need to. And look, and your goal is, it always is, and should always be, how fast can I get my bank balance to the level I need to turn it off? Figure that out. Understand that. And if you're never turning the apps off because your bank balance isn't getting there, then you need to figure out what the adjustment is you're going to make. Whether that's adding an app, whether that's adding a job and using the apps as part-time work, which might be the best mix you could have, or something else altogether. Guys, I hope you found this helpful. If you're new to gig work, that is the winning mindset that's going to win at the end of the day. Anyways, guys, as always, stay safe, stay profitable, and DoorDash will talk.